Have you ever felt like the world rewards the wrong people? Like honesty gets ignored while deception wins applause? You're not imagining it. Behind every charming smile, every perfect speech, every promise that feels too good, there's a strategy. Power doesn't belong to the most truthful. It belongs to those who understand how truth appears. Machiavelli saw this centuries ago in a world obsessed with image. Sincerity becomes dangerous. The strong don't just act, they perform. And those who cling to authenticity without wisdom, they become pawns in a game they never realized they were playing. This isn't about becoming fake. It's about seeing clearly, about learning the rules you were never taught. So if you're ready to stop being used and start understanding the real game, stay with me. What you're about to hear might not be comfortable, but it will change how you move through the world. Truth 1. Why we must wear masks. Everyone wears a mask, not because they're deceptive, but because the world demands it. From the moment we begin to speak, we're taught the performance smile when you're hurt. Agree when you disagree. Speak softly, even when the truth roars inside. And over time, these performances become so natural, so rehearsed, that we forget we're acting at all. But the mask is there, and those who forget they're wearing one are the easiest to destroy. The Stoics remind us to see life as it is, not as we wish it to be. And the truth is, no one is entirely authentic. Beneath every kind word, every gesture of affection, there is often an invisible exchange, a quiet assessment of value, of advantage, of risk. People conceal their true selves not out of malice, but out of necessity. Vulnerability, when placed in the wrong hands, becomes a weapon. And in a world where power is won not by innocence, but by insight, hiding your inner world becomes a form of self-respect. Philosophers like Nietzsche and even Machiavelli understood this. Long ago, life is not a sanctuary of truth. It is a game of strategy. Every word you speak, every reaction you show, is a move on a board that others are constantly studying. Some know they are playing, others do not, but all are being watched, measured, judged. If you still walk through life believing that love, loyalty, and kindness are untouched by self-interest, you are not seeing clearly, you are walking into traps. Power never belongs to the one who speaks their heart too freely. It belongs to the one who knows when to speak, when to pause, and when to hide. Wearing a mask is not about being fake. It's about surviving in a world where appearances are not lies, but protection. To adapt is not to lose yourself. It is to learn how to carry your truth carefully, guarded, with wisdom. Because in the end, it's not the honest who prevail, it's the aware. Truth 2. Authenticity, a silent danger. Authenticity is celebrated in stories and speeches as if being real were enough to earn respect, trust, even power. But step outside the comfort of ideals, and a different truth emerges. In a world built on perception, authenticity is not always a virtue. It can be a silent danger, the one who insists on being fully transparent, who bears every emotion, every fear, every piece of their soul without filter, walks straight into the jaws of exploitation. What they believe is honesty, others see as opportunity. What they offer as truth, others weaponize as leverage. This isn't to say that being true to yourself is wrong, but to expose yourself without discernment is not strength, it's self-sabotage. Machiavelli understood this deeply. He wrote not to glorify deceit, but to expose the brutal reality that power is won not through sincerity, but through perception. Those who rise are not the ones who reveal everything. They are the ones who master the art of selective revelation, those who know when to be seen and when to vanish behind the curtain of silence. Nietzsche, too, saw the danger compassion and emotional honesty, when unguarded, invite the wolves. People admire vulnerability only when it is controlled. The moment it becomes raw and unfiltered, it ceases to inspire and begins to threaten the comfort of others, or worse, becomes a tool in the hands of the manipulative. This is the quiet tragedy of the sincere. They believe they are being brave, but in truth, they are being read, mapped, and prepared for betrayal. The Stoics would not tell you to be fake, but they would warn you against being naive. They would tell you to know yourself deeply, and then protect that self with everything you have. To be authentic does not mean to be fully exposed. It means to be rooted, inwardly honest, and outwardly wise. Show what serves your path. Guard what makes you fragile. Because in the end, it is not the pure who survive, it is the prepared. It is not the loudest soul that endures, but the one who learns to move in shadows, calm and unreadable, until the moment clarity becomes power. Truth 3. Why appearance outranks. Truth. Success is rarely granted to those with the purest intentions or the most virtuous hearts. It is earned by those who master the subtle and often uncomfortable truth. Appearances shape outcomes. In a world where perception eclipses substance, who you appear to be often holds more weight than who you truly are. The world doesn't pause to uncover your depth. It responds to your image. And those who rise, those who influence, command, and endure are not always the most deserving. They are the ones who learn to craft an aura the world cannot ignore. This isn't about being fake. It's about being strategic. The Stoics would never ask you to betray your integrity, but they would urge you to understand human nature. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that the world is full of illusion, and therefore we must not be surprised when people are swayed more by presentation than principle. To master appearances is not to lie. It is to present truth in a way that protects it, amplifies it, and gives it room to move through a skeptical world. History remembers the figures who understood this well. Churchill didn't just speak. He constructed resolve through rhetoric. Musk doesn't just build technology. He shapes myth through media. Jobs didn't just innovate. He orchestrated attention like a conductor leading an orchestra. These were not accidents of charisma, they were calculated, deliberate performances designed to influence mass perception. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. If you still believe that raw honesty alone will elevate you, you may find yourself dismissed as unremarkable. The harsh reality is this: people follow certainty, not confession. They are drawn to mystery, not vulnerability. If you want to shape the course of your life, you must learn not only how to act with purpose, but how to appear with purpose. This doesn't mean abandoning your values. It means learning how to shield them behind composure. To carry yourself not as an open book, but as a compelling presence quietly rooted, disciplined in speech, deliberate in posture. The Stoic does not chase attention, but he never allows himself to be underestimated. Because in the silent game of power, it's not enough to be right. You must look unshakable. You must embody what others hope to find. In the end, success belongs to those who understand that reality may guide your path, but illusion determines how far others will let you walk it. Truth 4. Every bond has a price. Every human relationship, no matter how tender, how long-standing, or how sacred it seems, functions beneath the surface as an exchange of value. We may dress it in words like love, loyalty, or friendship, but at its core, There is always a question being asked: what do you bring into my world, and what do I offer in return? This is not a cynical view, it is a sober one. Life is a constant negotiation, and every bond we form, whether romantic, professional, or familial, is shaped by invisible terms. From childhood, we are conditioned to perform for acceptance: be good, be polite, make us proud, earn affection, earn belonging. And so we learn, early on, that connection is never free. It comes with cost, with effort, with trade. As adults, we carry this script with us into our friendships, into our work, into our love lives. We give smiles when needed, offer praise when strategic, withhold truth when silence serves us better. Few admit this, fewer master it. But those who rise, those who learn to move through the world with influence, do so because they understand the transaction behind the warmth. They don't see it as betrayal, they see it as structure, and they act with clarity instead of illusion. This doesn't mean they lack empathy. It means they don't confuse emotion with blindness. The Stoics taught us not to fear the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it feels. Love can be sincere and still transactional. Loyalty can be deep and still conditional. The wise man does not reject these truths. He learns to navigate them. He gives when it strengthens his path. He withdraws when the cost outweighs the return. He sees through the mask of unconditional connection and understands that even the purest bond can be shaped by need, by timing, by benefit. If you continue to approach life with the belief that others give without expectation, that trust is always organic and kindness is always free, you will be used by those who are simply playing the game more consciously than you. The powerful do not manipulate, they calculate. They understand when to lean in and when to walk away. They know that every relationship carries a silent contract, and they choose to read it. To thrive in this world is not to deny the performance, but to direct it. Not to reject the stage, but to learn how to stand on it without losing yourself. That is not betrayal of love. It is the protection of your worth. Truth. 5. How legends command belief. The great figures of history did not rise by strength alone. They rose because they mastered the invisible battlefield, the realm of perception. Their power extended far beyond armies or wealth. It lived in the image they cast, the emotions they stirred, and the symbols they embodied. They understood the truth that most overlooked people do not follow facts, they follow presence. And presence, when crafted with intention, becomes power. Winston Churchill didn't just lead Britain through its darkest hour. With strategy he led with imagery. His voice, his posture, his unwavering tone. They weren't just expressions of courage. They were instruments of influence, even when fear gnawed at the edges of reality. He chose not to reveal it, because he knew courage must first look unbreakable if it hopes to inspire it in others. His strength wasn't just felt, it was seen, and therefore it spread. Napoleon Bonaparte did not merely conquer through battlefield brilliance. He shaped myth. He became more than a general. He became an idea. His statues, his proclamations, his calculated silences all painted the portrait of destiny. He knew that a leader's most potent weapon is not only command over land, but command over narrative. The myth of invincibility often shields a man longer than any fortress, and in our modern age, this legacy continues. Steve Jobs didn't just invent, he enchanted. Elon Musk doesn't just engineer, he orchestrates belief. Their public personas, bold, visionary, untouchable, are not accidents. They are armors, woven from mystery, confidence, and selective exposure. They learned that truth without strategy is noise, but image, wielded well, is persuasion. The Stoics warned against emotional exhibitionism. They taught that self-control is strength, and that clarity of presentation is not deception, but discipline. A wise man does not reveal his doubts simply because he feels them. He reveals what strengthens the whole, what steadies the course, because reality is not always enough. People need belief, and belief is kindled by perception. So understand this if you wish to lead, to endure, to shape outcomes. You must shape how you are seen, not for vanity, but for survival. Appearance is not a costume, it is a shield, and in a world where illusions often speak louder than truth, those who master perception do not just survive, they are remembered. Truth 6. Why the mask protects more than it hides. In the relentless theater of human interaction, masks are not betrayals, they are boundaries. They are not lies, they are layers of self-preservation, forged by necessity, not malice. To believe that authenticity alone will shield you is to misunderstand the very structure of the world we live in. Sincerity, when left exposed, becomes an invitation for exploitation. And in a world where advantage is often disguised as kindness, wearing a mask is not cowardice, it is strategy. It is wisdom sharpened by reality. Machiavelli knew this long before modern psychology gave it a name. He saw clearly what most refuse to accept, that survival is not for the most honest, it is for the most adaptable. And adaptation, in a world ruled by perception, demands performance. A mask is not a denial of your soul. It is a gatekeeper. It allows you to choose who gets access to your truth and who only sees the silhouette. It is not about deceiving others for gain. It is about protecting yourself from those who would twist your openness into weakness. We are conditioned to vilify deception, yet we live amidst it daily. Watch the smile in a boardroom negotiation. Listen to the crafted speech of a politician. Observe the carefully timed empathy of a stranger with an agenda. These are masks not out of evil, but out of necessity. The world runs on performance, and to walk through it unguarded is not noble, it is suicidal. The Stoics did not advocate deception, but they did teach restraint. They taught that a wise man does not expose every thought, every wound, every intention. He reveals what serves his purpose and guards the rest in silence. Why? Because the crowd is fickle, because emotion blinds, because power is fragile when left unprotected. To master the art of the mask is not to become false, it is to become conscious. Conscious of what you show, conscious of what you conceal, conscious of the battlefield you're walking through. In this world, you are either playing the game or being played by it. Your mask is not your enemy, it is your shield, your interface with a world that rewards illusion more than it rewards depth. So wear your mask, not to deceive, but to survive, not to manipulate, but to move with power. Master your mask, or find yourself disarmed by those who already have. Truth 7. Why vulnerability without strategy destroys. In the quiet war for power, it is not always the weakest who fall, it is often the most unguarded, those who step into the world with raw transparency, believing that sincerity is protection, quickly find themselves wounded by the very hands they thought they could trust. They fall not because their spirit lacks strength, but because they refuse to see the world as it truly is, a battlefield of perception, veiled motives, and silent calculation. To walk through this world without armor, to reveal your entire self in the name of authenticity, is not bravery. It is blindness. The Stoics taught that wisdom begins with understanding nature, not the world as we wish it to be, but as it is, and the nature of this world is layered, strategic, complex. The individual who insists on being fully seen, fully understood, fully real, becomes a fixed point in a game that rewards unpredictability. They are read easily, manipulated swiftly, and discarded quietly. The greatest threat to the authentic soul is not confrontation. It is misreading the arena they've entered. In a world where others wear masks not to lie, but to navigate, to survive, to win, you become a target if you refuse to adapt. History offers countless examples of those who believed their honesty alone would elevate them. They trusted too quickly, confessed too much, showed their wounds before knowing who was watching, and in doing so, they empowered those who would later destroy them. The tragedy isn't the betrayal, it's the blindness to its inevitability. The wise man does not reveal everything. He discerns. He calculates. He knows that the timing of truth matters as much as the truth itself. Power belongs not to those who demand to be seen, but to those who understand when to disappear, the one who moves with restraint, who reveals only what strengthens his position, who wears his mask not out of deceit, but out of discipline. He is the one who endures. So ask yourself, will you cling to the illusion of a transparent world and fall early, or will you embrace the reality of the game and learn to play it well? Because in the end, it's not the loudest or the kindest who survive, it's the most aware, and awareness, in a world of illusion, begins with learning how not to be seen. Truth 8. When image becomes armor. In the silent struggle for influence, your image is not decoration, it is defense, it is offense, it is your most powerful weapon. Every glance you hold, every silence you choose, every word you let fall into the room becomes part of the story. Others tell themselves about who you are, the fatal mistake. Letting that story write itself. The wise never leave their narrative to chance. They craft it, they shape it like a sculptor with stone, revealing only what strengthens their position and concealing what could be turned against them. Machiavelli understood that people don't follow truth, they follow strength. And strength, in the eyes of others, is often nothing more than the illusion of control. This is why legends don't show their full hand. They don't explain, defend, or overexpose. They manage perception as a general manages terrain strategically, cautiously, with ruthless intent. Because in a world where perception is power, your image becomes your shield against betrayal and your sword in every negotiation. To consciously shape how you are seen is not deception, it is discipline. It is refusing to be defined by the careless eyes of others. It is choosing when to appear warm and when to remain distant, when to speak and when to vanish behind the fog of mystery. This unpredictability becomes your armor, because when people can't read you, they can't use you. And when they can't use you, they are forced to respect you. If you leave your image to randomness, you become the product of rumor, the victim of projection. But if you refine it with intention, you seize control not only of how you are seen, but of how you are treated. In this world, image builds alliances. It wins wars before battles begin. It can open doors or exile you without a word. So shape it, hone it, guard it. Your image is either a mask you master or a mirror others distort. In the end, you are not remembered for who you truly are. You are remembered for who the world believes you were. Make that belief your own creation, not their invention. Truth 9. Why perception is stronger than truth. In the unforgiving theater of power, it is not truth that shapes outcomes, it is perception, reality. In all its quiet certainty, holds little sway over minds fueled by belief. Facts are ignored, truths are buried, but perception Perception is the storm that topples empires and raises the unworthy to thrones. The most common mistake people make is assuming that truth will speak for itself. It won't. Reality whispers. Only perception roars. Machiavelli warned us centuries ago, people judge not by truth, but by appearances. A leader who seems fearless will command loyalty, even if fear haunts him. A rival who appears vulnerable becomes a target, even if strength hides beneath the surface. Humanity is not led by evidence, it is led by symbols, emotion, and illusion. Those who master power understand this. They shape what others see with precision. They know how to project invincibility at the right moment, how to feign weakness when it draws advantage, how to vanish into silence, and how to command the stage when the timing serves. They don't just act, they direct the story that others tell about them. And that story becomes truth in the minds of the masses. The Stoic does not waste energy defending facts to a world addicted to illusion. He shapes what must be seen and lets the rest remain unspoken. Because in this world, the one who controls perception wins before the battle begins. History does not remember the most righteous, it remembers the most convincing. So let others cling to reality while you command belief. Because the war for power is not fought in actions, it is fought in impressions. Control how others see, and you control what they believe. And once you control belief, you shape the world without lifting a sword. In a world where perception often outweighs truth, surviving isn't about being the loudest or the kindest. It's about being conscious. Strategy is not betrayal, it's protection. And wisdom lies not in showing everything, but in knowing what to show, when, and to whom. Your truth is sacred, but not everyone deserves access to it. Wear your mask, not to deceive, but to defend your peace. Reveal only what strengthens you. Hold back what others might use to weaken you. The powerful don't overshare. They observe, they adapt, and they act with intention. This isn't a call to harden your heart, but to sharpen your awareness, to see the world as it is, not as you wish it to be. Play the game, but do it with calm, clarity, and depth. Because in the end, it's not the most open who thrive, it's the most prepared. If this resonated with you, take a moment to subscribe, and in the comments, write "Power in Silence," a quiet reminder that you're no longer walking blindly. Stay sharp, stay grounded. The next chapter will take you deeper, and you won't want to miss it.